So my wife has become enamored with this Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. Maybe you've heard of it. The treasure is at least 8.25 miles north of Santa Fe, somewhere south of the Canadian border in the Rocky Mountains, between 5,000 and 10,200 feet in elevation. My wife's been watching all these YouTube videos and people that have chat rooms going on and everything else. And one day I realized, there are some similarities between finding Forrest Fenn's treasure and the Rubik's Cube. You see, with the Rubik's Cube, you've got to be able to accomplish certain things, certain stages, before you go on to the next stage. Same thing with the treasure hunt. For example, with the Rubik's Cube, you got to be able to get one side of the cube. But just because you do that doesn't mean that you solved the rest of the cube. It just means that you've got one side. So how does that equate back to the treasure hunt? Well, the first side of the treasure hunt cube, if you will, would be learning Forrest Fenn's poem that he put out there. And what is the poem? As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secrets wearing. Hint of riches, new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not too far, but too far to walk. Put in below the home of Brown. From there's no place for the meat. The end, it's ever drawn nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze. Just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you've been brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. So that's like getting one side of the cube. But once you have one side of the cube, then you got to spend some time figuring out what the clues are. And that's like getting the opposite side of the cube. So one side and then the opposite side of the cube. Then the next thing we got to do with the cube, see how you got the corners the same color here, and then the middle, we got to get this middle the same color. We got to get all three colors, in other words, the rings around each of these sides, to be the same. So how does that relate back to the treasure itself? Well, that goes back to the community. There's this whole community of people out there that are looking for this treasure and helping each other out. And it's quite fun, actually, to watch my wife. Some of her favorites are Toby and Shelly and K-Pro and Cal Lazars. So that becomes your community. So you got the poem. You've got the decipher of the poem. To help you with that, you've got the rings around each side here. That is the community itself. And then once you have it all figured out, once you know your solve, now it's time for you to get the center or the core of the cube done. And that's to go what they call boots on the ground. So when you figure out the poem, when you have the solve, the decipher done, when you've been involved in the community, and then you finally get yourself out there and look for it, you can actually get that treasure. But I think the Rubik's Cube is a lot easier.